Hello everyone. Today we'll be discussing on the topic note taking. Note taking is a critical success skill. The more you practice, the more efficient you will become. If you select a method and use it often, you can really improve your techniques. With note taking techniques, you will also be able to record the fastest speaker to your satisfaction and have great study tool while preparing for your assignments or even your examinations. Now, what is note taking? By definition, note taking is a practice of recording important information from lectures, readings, discussions for later review and reference. So in simple words, we can say that note taking is when you create your own version of someone else's work to help you with your studies or your reference. It can take a lot of different forms. You might paraphrase what someone else has said and list it into bullet points or even create a mind map. Now, why is note taking important? Note taking is important because the human capacity for recollection is not that great. So the bad news here is we have to remember a lot of concepts when it comes to theorems, laws, or complex ideas. But the good news is that note taking can not only help with this, but also improve the learning outcomes in many other ways. So the habit of note taking can even make you join the ranks of successful students. It acts a file of information, and this file of information helps you for later use, preparing for exams or writing a paper or even more advanced studies. So another thing is that if you chunk it down, you can say that note taking helps in active listening. It encourages listening during lectures or discussions. So when you're taking notes, you're processing a lot of information and highlighting the facts, connecting dots, and breaking down a big topic into small chunks and engaging actively with the information and increases the chances of recollecting some of it, and you become more attentive. It also helps your enhanced learning process, and taking notes engages your brain, helping you to learn better and understand written information. You can even learn about a topic, and this give you an edge during examination in which you need to debate or describe a particular topic. Before online teaching, we nearly highlighted all the points and textbooks with a marker. Today, note taking has made our life very simpler. So what we do is you have to take up the key points, and later on you can elaborate the same. So this becomes your reference material. So notes actually serve as a resource for study assignments. Now this also helps you in your organization skills. That is, you have to understand that note making is not just merely writing down what is said, but it's about determining the key points and remembering it later. So it makes sense of the complex ideas and broad topics, and it makes them very easy to remember later or recall later. You become more efficient in organizing large amounts of information, and learning becomes less overwhelming for you. Now, we have to even remember certain critical note-taking tips. Okay, so the first thing is you should never type out everything what the resource person says or the professor says. So instead you have to pay attention to the overarching topics or concepts and write down the key points of the topic at hand. You should also try to annotate the presentation. So if your resource person or the professor provides a PDF or a copy of the lecture, you might want to annotate it. So you could work out from an outline or a graphic organizer or use a digital tool for the same. You should create a system to review your notes also. For example, if you're writing notes, you should skim them for nearly 10 minutes before the class. The topic has to be really thoroughly read by you, and this strategy will help you to remember what are the important topics discussed in the previous class. Now, there are many effective note-taking methods you could use for your own benefit. The first one being the Cornell method, the second one, the outlining method, the third one, mind mapping method, the fourth one, flowcharts and diagrams, and the fifth one is sentences and paragraphs. Now, Cornell system was developed by the Cornell education professor Walter Pope, and he outlined this effective note-taking method in his book How to Study in College. Now, according to him, people who do not take notes will lose information as follows. That is, after a lecture, after 20 minutes after a lecture, you lose nearly 47 minutes of the 47% of the information that is gathered. After a day, it becomes 62% of information lost. 2 days, 69%. 10 weeks, it becomes 75%, and after 15 weeks, it becomes 95%. So to avoid this, Mr. Pock devised this technique, and wherein you will have to divide your paper or your notebook into 3 sections, namely cues, notes, and summary. So the note-taking area which you see will record the lecture fully and meaningfully as possible. The cues are where you try to reduce your notes and concise jotting points while reciting review, and try to jot down examples what the resource person of the professor says. The summaries, you sum up each of the page of a note in a sentence or two. This actually provides you the perfect opportunity for the following, through which 5 hours of note taking can be taken. That is, the first one is record. That is, you record the main column as meaningful facts and ideas, and you write legibly. The second portion would be your reduce. So as soon as possible or as after possible, you summarize these facts and ideas concisely in the Q column. And summarizing actually clarifies meaning and relationships and reinforces continuity and strengthens your memory. Then you again go to recite it. That is, you cover the note-taking area using your jottings and Q column and say over the facts. That is basically the examples which you have written in this Q column will help you to remember what the lecture is about. Then you start verifying it. The next process would be reflect. That is, you draw out points from your notes and use them as a starting point for your own reflection on the course and how it relates to your other courses. So reflection basically helps prevent ideas from being inert and soon forgotten. And later, the final part is your review. So you spend 10 minutes every week to have a quick review of your notes that is already taken by you, and you will almost retain everything what you have done. So this is your Cornell system of note taking method. Now we have to understand when to use it. When to use it is any lecture situation. The advantages being is it provides an organized, systematic means of recording and reviewing notes. It is an easy format for pulling out major concepts and ideas. It is simple and efficient and saves a lot of time and effort. So it is a method, you can also call it a do it right in the first place method. Now it doesn't have any disadvantages unlike other methods. Now the next one which we will be discussing in detail is the outlining method. Now here we use a hierarchical structure with headings and subheadings and helps to visually organize information. So we start with the general information first on the left with the more specific facts and clarification, and it's indented to the right. This method actually, what we do is we listen, then write down in organized pattern based on the space of indentation. We place the major points to the farthest left as discussed and indent the most specific point to the right. Now the levels of importance and the information would be prioritized will be indicated by the distance that it has from the main point or the major point. The indentation can be simple, there can be no marking, just space, or more complex by using Roman letters, numbers, numerals, or even decimal points. So that is our outlining method. The next method which we will be discussing is the flowchart or diagrams. Now here it is much easier. This is something which you have learned earlier. You will have sequence of points wherein you will have the major point at the top and where you will be charting out each and every point would be actually pulled together below in a chronological order. Now this is easier to represent. It is also a visual representation and you can only do it if you are